tonight, customs officers uncover illegal drugs in containers. Lummitown takes on Yellow Ribbon initiative. And local artists push for increase in music royalties. Very good evening. The Fiji Revenue and Customs Authority has detained 2 containers suspected to be containing sacks of gamma-hydroxybutyric acid. Although used for some medical applications, the substance is also used illegally overseas in the manufacture of what's commonly referred to as date rape pills. As Amelia Vunilambo reports, this latest find also fueling speculation on whether this illegal drug is being used locally.
The discovery was made after customs officers noticed some irregularities in import papers. Upon a closer look inside the 2 containers, their suspicions were confirmed. Samples were sent to the Coronivia Research Station for testing. When results came back, it was confirmed that the substance was GHB, which is an illicit drug under the Illicit Drugs Act. The containers had been addressed to a local importer who had ordered 2 containers of soybean oil from China. GHB is also known as 4-hydroxybutanoic acid. It is also categorized as an illegal drug in many countries. Although used medically as a general anesthetic to treat conditions such as insomnia and clinical depression, there is another more sinister application for the drug. It is widely used overseas as the basic ingredient for manufacturing date rape pills. FIRCA has handed over the matter to police for further investigations. Amelia Vunilambo, Fiji One News.
Government continues to drive home its message of quality education for all. This comes as Prime Minister Commodore Porenge Bainimarama opened a new preschool centre at Navutu in Singatoka. The PM also told parents and teachers in the area to take full advantage of the new facility. The facility was built by Fiji Pine to the tune of close to $20,000. After today's launch, the PM also held a Talanoa session with Navutu villagers. The opening also coincided with the graduation of 8 preschool students this afternoon. Lummitown became the latest municipal council to launch the Yellow Ribbon program with the Fiji Corrections Service. Lummitown Special Administrator Jasper Singh hopes that this will lead to the overall reduction in the crime rate in the area and the change in the behavior of habitual offenders.
Lummitown Council now becomes the 6th municipal council this year to launch the Yellow Ribbon project. The message from the Special Administrator of the Council, Jasper Singh, was clear.
Our message was loud and clear that we can't segregate our ex-offenders, we can't just tuck them away. And they have made a mistake, they have done the time, so let's not punish them twice.
The town has recently observed an increase in crime, particularly from the habitual offenders. The council will now provide avenues for the correction services to implement the program.
Business community too, that at least if one of them, if one of the ex-offenders gets a job, and there's hundreds of employers out there, a great substantial amount of ex-offenders coming out who is part of our community will be absorbed, so there won't be habitual offenders.
Lem is also the final municipal council for this year to launch the program. Plans are afoot to move to other remote areas next year.
The plan for next year will be Tabeuni, most likely Lebuka. We might have to go to Kandau. As I've already mentioned, it depends on the trend of the crime.
Other areas that have already launched their Yellow Ribbon projects this year are Nambawalu, Korovau and Tavua. Aliteshdat, Fiji One News.
The Fiji Performing Rights Association today distributed $225,000 in royalty payments to more than 500 local artists today. The payment comes on the eve of the association's annual meeting tomorrow, where an increase in royalty payments is expected to be proposed.
The smiling faces of FIPRA members this afternoon shows just how important today is for them. It was time to reward their hard work over the last few months.
This is the day. This is the climax of the role that the association is carrying out, which is, at the end of it all, this is where the cost of their labor is finally distributed to the owners of the works or the composers.
For some, it was just a few $100s, while others who have their song played on air on most occasions got more than $1,000. But for FIPRA, today's handout could be a lot higher if it was not for piracy.
You cannot give up a good fight. Now, we will persevere come what may, because it's a work that has been entrusted to the association by the members. They've entrusted us with the administration of their work, the licensing of those who use their works, and at the end of it all, for the distribution of these licenses as royalties, which is they're largely the only source of income for most members.
The good news to these people will come in tomorrow's AGM, where proposed increase in their royalty payment will be put on the table for endorsement.
To increase the royalty for distribution next year by 8.9%. So the distribution that is going for 2012, which is being distributed today, is 225,000. So an 8.9% increase from 225,000 is what we're looking at.
The FIPRA AGM starts at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Ndrebu Kailangi, Fiji One News.
The turnout at Sky Pacific's Voi Liku Roadshow continues to exceed expectations, and it has prompted further reductions in the price of startup packages to $50. Fiji Television Limited Chief Executive Officer Tevita Ngonelevu said this was done because of an overwhelming need to access world-class entertainment, especially for the people up north. More than 250 families in the remote parts of Mbua now watch the best and most current entertainment, as well as news and documentary channels. Ngonelevu adds that it's all about affordability without compromising quality. The hundreds who turned up at Nambuwalu yesterday couldn't believe their luck when the startup packages were reduced further than the new price of $99.
We are fortunate enough to have you guys down here selling equipment which is really quite cheap. I think the day of the past has gone out. It's finished today. Today it'll be a new era for us. We have services that are brought to our doorsteps. And I will say that not only us, it will be the children, educational, wife. We've been crying a long time to have Sky. So when the services are brought down here, we like to thank the company and most of all thank the government of the day.
The Sky Pacific team were at Senganga today, where more people turned up to make use of the specials. Ngonelevu added that Vanuatu was an untapped market that Sky Pacific was tapping into now.
It will bring educational, extend, like it broaden our knowledge, see the world, news and all. Most of all, your services is really triple clear.
The Voi Liku Roadshow moves on to Savusavu tomorrow. Fiji has formalized diplomatic relations with the government of Burkina Faso today. A communique signing was held at the Fiji mission to the United Nations in New York. Our permanent representative to the United Nations, Peter Thompson, and his Burkina Faso counterpart, Ambassador de Kogda, signed the communique. The communique also calls for the promotion of mutual understanding and strengthening of friendship and cooperation between Burkina Faso and Fiji. The two ambassadors also discussed areas of common interest between the two countries. How climate change threats like rising sea levels and changing weather patterns were shared by Ambassador Thompson. In the news ahead, commercial fishing operators call for state help. And Solomon Islands keen to learn from Yellow Ribbon. Hello again. Corporate entities have been urged to adapt to the quality control circle concept within their organization to enhance productivity levels. With more private sector organizations starting to incorporate the idea, the National Productivity and Training Center hopes government departments can also do the same.
These are just some of the companies who are using quality control cycles in their workplace. It's a system where any flaws in an organization are identified and solved effectively. It has resulted in better productivity for the organization.
In the 80s, the government was a leader in QCC activities. The public works departments, for instance, had a lot of quality control cycles. Somehow, over the years, we have lost that. We need to revive that.
There are 20 to 25 organizations in the country that are using this concept to enhance productivity within the organization. The National Training and Productivity Center will also embark on a nationwide campaign next year to promote this concept.
So that it helps not only enterprises and organizations, private and public sector, but also schools. Many of these concepts can be taken to the families, to the individuals at home, to the villages, provinces, to the farms, etc.
For companies who have been using this concept, there has been a positive turnaround in their productivity levels.
It's being implemented and it does make a difference. I think another change it brings is empowering our people. Like our people's mindset are being changed, to making tomorrow a better today. Just making them think of what problems we can identify within our organization.
Ali Teshtat, Fiji One News.
The Department of Energy continues to push for corporate entities to be more energy efficient. The department is also rewarding entities who implement strategies and projects that save energy. Director Energy Pedeli Nakabulebu says the idea is to help reduce the country's billion-dollar fuel import bill.
At the end of the day, they come up with the energy management plans. With the energy management plans, we also, in terms of evaluation, we go back in terms of to see how far they have gone in so far as implementing the plans that they have set for themselves. At the same time, looking at the results of the implementation and its effectiveness insofar as the whole organization is concerned.
Fuel imports alone equates to about 30% of our total import bill. This year, 13 companies have shown keen interest in taking advantage of the department's initiatives by implementing power savings within their organizations.
Very simply, energy efficiency is about reducing your costs doing business, your cost in terms of your energy costs.
The fishing industry is calling on government intervention. One of the biggest operators, Fiji Fish, claims that unless government steps in soon, many local operators will be forced out of business. Local operators are citing outside factors as some of the reasons behind their ongoing hardships.
One of the major players in the fishing industry is seeking urgent government help to save the industry. Fiji Fish CEO Graham Southwick says that most fishing vessels are not going out to the sea now because of the difficulties they are facing.
The chances of things being rectified are very slim. So, generally there's a big feeling of gloom over the whole industry because nobody seems to want to cooperate. And so, the industry is obviously in serious problem now, extremely serious problem. The Pacific industry and the Fiji industry in particular.
The Prime Minister office has stepped in to provide some assistance, but Southwick believes most of these problems are also external.
The problems with the industry are external. There are some internal problems that we do have some controls over, but the bulk of the problem emanates from just gross overfishing within the Pacific and catch rates much below break even. And there's little likelihood that pressure is going to back off in the foreseeable future.
But for now, there is no easy answer to what the fishing industry is facing.
It is a major concern. There's no easy answers, but generally speaking, the industry within Fiji is winding down, and we are talking with the PM and the government to see what they can do to offset this situation. But there are no easy answers at the moment.
Drew Bukelangi, Fiji One News.
An elderly disabled man of Narere is seeking answers from relevant authorities on what legal assistance is available to him. Abdul Ghaffar claims that he has visited the legal aid office in Suva to assist him, but he has been told that they cannot provide any assistance to him since he has a civil case.
My concern is that I want to know where we support to get help, disabled people and elderly people. The constitution is everywhere it says civil matter, police says civil matter. When you go, anything they could not do it, police is civil matter. I got evidence, I can show it.
The 71-year-old is concerned that his constitutional right to access a fair redress system is being restricted.
And I asked him, where the law? This was a couple of 3 weeks ago. Where the law for disabled? He said, no, we haven't got a law. Same question I asked to AG's office. No answer.
Police are investigating an incident in Vatuanga yesterday where a 19-year-old woman gave birth and buried her baby beside her home. The girl is being admitted at CWM Hospital. Her father has also been taken in for questioning, and police investigations are now underway. More work still needs to be done on HIV and STI education and prevention programs in the country, particularly in prisons. That's one of the key findings highlighted by the first ever study addressing ways to improve prisoner health, as well as the health of communities as they return to after prison. Leader researcher Professor Stuart Kinner says prisoner health is also public health. The Health in Prisoners in Fiji study was funded by the Pacific Islands HIV and STI Response Fund. It was released today by the Burnett Institute, an Australian research institute, in partnership with the University of Melbourne and the Fiji-based non-governmental organisation Empower Pacific. The research was also presented this week at the International Congress on AIDS in Asia and the Pacific in Bangkok, Thailand. According to the research, half of those interviewed had reported not receiving any HIV, STI or condom use information or education. 70% also reported never having had an HIV test, and knowledge of risk factors for transmission of HIV and other STIs was also poor. Around 200 prisoners were interviewed as part of the study. The research was funded by the Pacific Islands HIV and STI Response Fund, a multi-country grant managed by the Secretariat of the Pacific Community's Public Health Division. We have the latest news from around the Pacific up next. Stay with us. Fiji's Yellow Ribbon concept is now being exported across the region. Solomon Islands Corrections Service Deputy Commissioner Maktas Farao is currently in the country to observe the program here. The Solomon Islands is hoping to launch the Yellow Ribbon program next year.
We have learned a lot how to set up the platform there, and set up proper time frame and timing and arrangement and awareness. Yeah, that's very important of the program, and then come to the actual launching.
The Solomon Islands will become the second nation in the region to adopt this concept after Fiji. Fiji adopted the concept from Singapore.
We think we come to Fiji because Fiji is similar to Solomon Island. We are similar in our culture. We have the same religious belief and family values.
Vanuatu has launched its National Early Warning Centre. It was officially opened in Port Vila by Vanuatu Prime Minister Moana Kākis's Kalosil. Its primary purpose will be to help the Pacific Island nation assess the threats posed by natural hazards like volcanoes, cyclones and tsunamis. Featuring state-of-the-art equipment, the centre will form an integral part of Vanuatu's fight against the elements and paves the way for sharing critical early warning information regionally. It will operate 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. Kalosil says his government is committed to saving lives and mitigating the risks they face from natural disasters. He says it will also help them analyze scientific data in real time. Vanuatu is the 6th most vulnerable nation in the world to natural hazards, including cyclones and earthquakes, with an average of 7% of GDP lost every year due to the impacts of these disasters. Willem is next with sport and fitness, no longer an issue with Fiji men's sevens team.
Yes, Philly, it was a major issue, but it's cleared as both the national teams flew out today. That's coming up also ahead. Rick Stone banks on back three for Kangaroos match. And Burnivalu Sevens gets timely boost. Welcome back. Ben Ryan admits he's rectified a crippling issue that led to the Digicel Fiji Sevens team's demise at the Gold Coast Sevens. Fiji settled for the plate mid last month. Ryan didn't work with the team prior to the tournament, but the team to Dubai in South Africa, he's had time.
For what was available as far as injuries and availability, and the boys have all put their hands up and they've trained and played very well. So, you know, I'm thankful for their attitude and training. It's great. You know, I'd always, as a coach, like more time together with the team to prepare. But you know, we're moving forwards, and it's significantly better than we were in the first tournament.
The Fiji men's and women's sevens team both jetted out of the country today to the second leg of the RB World 7 Series. As for the men's, Ryan believes they can return Fiji to their winning ways.
It is, yeah, you know, because we've had more time, so we're fitter, and you know, and that's nothing against the boys that were playing in the Gold Coast. They tried hard, and some of those guys, I'm sure, will be coming back fitter and stronger to push back into the side. But these are the guys on form that deserve to be in the 12.
All Black Sevens coach Gordon Tidgens has gone for experience while naming his 12 players to take part in the next 2 rounds of the Sevens World Series. All of Tidgens' core players, Captain DJ Forbes, Thomas Idama, Tim Mickelson and Lotte Raikambula, have been returned, while another Fijian, Waisake Naholo, was not considered for these 2 tournaments in Dubai and Port Elizabeth. Also making the return is Gillis Kaka, back from injury for his first tournament of the new season. Also in is World Cup team member Bryce Him. The team includes 9 players from the side that won the first tournament of the series in October on the Gold Coast. Reo villagers will come to a standstill when they host the inaugural Burnivalu Sevens tournament next month. And the organizers' quest to host a successful tournament received a shot in their arm today when a shipping agency gave them $5,000 sponsorship for the 2-day tournament. The funds raised from the tournament will assist the people of 6 villages in Rewa to do a lot of development work and also help the Rewa rugby team ascend into the major division by 2015. The 2-day tournament will be held on the 6th and 7th of December at the Mburimbasanga grounds in Rewa.
There's a club within the Avusa, Burnivalu Rugby Club. So we will be working closely with them in developing that rugby club. And as you know, most of you know, the Rewa Rugby Union was demoted last year.
Our support of Yavusa Burnivalu illustrates our commitment to assisting our community along sustainable lines. And given that we have a long-term view, we look forward to an ongoing relationship with Yavusa Burnivalu, and we trust and pray that our support will assist you in enriching the lives of your people.
The Flying Fijians are out to end Romania's unbeaten run in 2013 when they ran out in Bucharest on Sunday. Romania, who beat Canada 21-10 last week and Tonga 19-18 a week earlier, have not lost a test match this season, winning 9 out of 10 and drawing with Georgia in March. Nokemale has named his strongest side, but it's without Nicola Matawalu and Verniki Ngoneva, who we understand had visa problems coming in from the UK. The biggest concern for them, however, is discipline, after Fiji were given 5 yellow cards during the clash against Italy, at one stage being reduced to 11 men. All Blacks number 8 Kieran Reid says there is no chance of getting carried away with his world-beating form, not when Father Terry is only an email away. Reid has scored 6 tries in his past 6 tests and is highly likely to be named the International Rugby Board Player of the Year.
The All Blacks are masters of their game, but pupils tonight of the local heroes. The Dubliners are national champions in both of Ireland's homegrown ball sports.
When you throw it up there, you put a hand on the hurl and you try and keep it, try and strike the ball in.
Their amateur games arousing the passions of the fans who hold them dear, something the professionals in black identify with.
my dad emailed me and pretty much said, you know, you're only as good as your last effort. It's my focus to make sure that I, you know, really just get out there and do the job. And you know, this is the one that people will remember, and certainly the one last year which we didn't get right.
They've answered the English but want to ensure Ireland don't spring any surprises.
This friendly clash of the codes shows that it might just be a while before the All Blacks make the Irish Gaelic football or hurling sides, but as it is, they've got plenty to work on at the breakdown.
You know, it's a different intensity up here and the way teams attack breakdowns, and you know, so there's a lot going on for them to get right.
Kieran Reid felt the lash of accumulated penalties from referee Craig Joubert last week. He might be hoping for more latitude from Nigel Owens, who controlled the Ellis Park thriller.
Essentially, that's what you want to see when you go out there and play, is consistency from the refs.
From selectors, though, expect sweeping changes in the forwards. Steve Luatua likes his chances. What does he think he'd add?
Some youth. It always helps. I actually think, you know, a bit of balance. I can cover a few roles.
And quite handy with a hurling stick too. Now that is versatile.
The back three for the Vodafone Fiji Mbati were outstanding in the match against Samoa in the quarterfinals of the Rugby League World Cup last weekend. Now coach Rick Stone is banking on them to do the same again this week against Australia.
They are as potent as it gets. The Fiji Mbati back three of fullback Kevin Naingama and wingers Marika Koroibete and Aquila Wate were outstanding in their contribution to Fiji's win against Samoa last weekend.
You know, the work rate of those boys was terrific, and you know, they really gave us a massive lift coming out of our end. And
Koroibete, who's risen the ranks pretty quickly from schools rugby league to the NRL with West Tigers, is also basking in his first World Cup appearance.
Since back in 2008, I saw the few of the boys been playing in the World Cup, and I've been looking forward to it, and I don't want to waste this time.
Wate, who's also represented Australia, seems to be back to his devastating best, a form he attributes to.
I just felt the emotion, and just thinking of how long we've come.
While he may be small, he makes up for it with a lot of heart, and the younger of the Naingama siblings has been a revelation at fullback.
Us back threeers in Miyaku and Marika catching most of the balls on the floor, and yeah, we didn't really let any of their kicks get in, put us in any trouble. We really covered that well.
Naingama and Wate have played together for the Newcastle Knights, but their combination with Koroibete has come together just in time.
Yeah, well, the deeper we get into the tournament, the more better we're going.
Okay, I know Coach Tim Sheens will respect all those boys at the back and understand their kick chase and what they do on their first couple of tackles is really important.
Asnat Wenigolo, Fiji One News.
The Kangaroos will achieve a feat no Australian side has managed in more than 30 years if their impressive defensive shutout continues against the Fiji Mbati. Tim Sheen's tournament favourites head into Sunday's World Cup semi-final, having not conceded a try in 3 straight matches, more than 4 hours of rugby league.
The New South Wales Indigenous under-16 side were special guests at Kangaroos training today as the Aussies took the field with the temperature below 4 degrees. Coach Tim Sheens has named a 19-man squad for the semi-final against Fiji, with Greg Inglis replacing the injured Billy Slater at fullback. There were strong challenges for the vacant left centre position, but Brent Tate's experience earned him the spot ahead of Michael Jennings and Josh Morris. The squad remains largely unchanged from the side that defeated USA in the quarterfinals. However, Sheens admits he's still toying with the final makeup of his bench. NRL.com caught up with the coach ahead of the semi-final at Wembley to talk about the team. Tim, you've just named your squad for the World Cup semi-final against Fiji. Obviously, Greg Inglis at fullback.
Yeah, well, Greg did a good job against Fiji last time we played, and he filled in for us obviously when Billy went off. So I think, although I've got some great options there, I think he's probably the logical replacement at this point.
Obviously, there was a few players putting their hand up for that left centre position, but Tate's one out.
Yeah, I went to Brent. A number of reasons, mainly experience. So I'll leave it at that. But yeah, fairly hotly contested. But that's the bonus with having such a great squad.
The Kangaroos will have a final training run here at Harrow on Friday before their semi-final clash with Fiji at Wembley on Saturday.
The Lambasa football team is on track to play their first ever semi-final on foreign soil. The Mbambasinga Lions have made it 2 out of 2 in the Pacific Cup tournament last night when they beat Mba 1-0 in an exciting and torrid encounter. Tayana Kerebanua scored the lone goal for Lambasa from a penalty spot. They play Queensland in their third pool match tonight. Defending champions Nandi suffered a loss in their second game while Nasino New Zealand beat Sabu Sabu New Zealand. Suva again failed to find the net, resulting in their second draw. The Fiji Association of Sports and National Olympic Committee have received good response from national federations for inductees into the Hall of Fame and Fiji Order this year. While not revealing the number of nominations received, Fesanok received a timely boost as the Bank of South Pacific came on board as the new sponsors of the event, giving $5,000. The Hall of Fame and Fiji Olympic Order will be held at the Novotel in Lami on January 29th.
By the close of entries at the end of October, Fesanok had received nominations from national federations for both the Fiji Sports Hall of Fame and the Fiji Olympic Order. As is the policy of Fesanok, the nominations are kept confidential until the announcement of the winners on the night of the celebration.
Our recent involvement with sports after all our sponsorships in Fiji has been to become the official sponsor of the Pacific Games in Moresby in 2015. So we look forward to working with Fesanok not only through these awards but all through in building up a team, a good size and a decent team to compete for a lot of medals up in Moresby.
Fiji-based Ghanaian boxer Joseph Kwajo's frustrations over a postponed fight this weekend is behind him now as he prepares for a bigger fight next Wednesday. Kwajo was scheduled to fight against Australian Rohan Murdoch this weekend for the WBO's vacant Asia-Pacific Super Middleweight title. Boxing Commission Director Malakai Vesamsama has confirmed that approval has been given today for Kwajo to feature next Wednesday in one of Australia's mega fight nights. Kwajo will feature in the undercard of the main fight between future Boxing Hall of Famer and former world champion Shane Mosley fighting Anthony Mundine. His opponent, Reynold Quinlan, is an undefeated fighter and is all ready for the fight to be staged at the Olympic Park Stadium in Sydney. 5 wickets from a fired-up Stuart Broad gave England the upper hand as Australia struggled to 273 for 8 on a seesaw opening day of the Ashes. The home side had been reduced to 132 for 6 in the middle of the afternoon before a 7th wicket partnership of 114 between Brad Haddin and Mitchell Johnson dragged them back into the contest.
David Warner gave it to Stuart Broad before the match, labelling him a sook, and he promptly punished his opening no ball.
Shot, the Ashes are underway.
But Broad snapped up Chris Rogers cheaply.
Rogers squared up. Rogers out.
The prospect of a resurgent Warner and Shane Watson batting in the opening session ensured fireworks. More so from Warner as the 50 came up.
Gotcha. Down the ground, in the air. Not quite out of the middle, but that'll do.
No wonder the English weren't happy with the ball, but after living dangerously, Watson perished just before lunch.
Oh no, catch that, he does!
That brought Michael Clarke to the wicket amidst pre-match predictions that the skipper was suspect against short-pitched bowling.
Andrew Strauss, the ex-captain a few years ago, said he was a bit gun-shy, Clarkey, that he didn't like the short ball, and the current crop think that that's the case as well.
The tourists were right on the mark. Clarke only lasting 7 balls, 73 for 3, as the Aussies were broadsided.
Clarke took his eyes off that one and fended the bell.
One short of his 50, Warner holed out to Kevin Peterson, who he'd called arrogant. Didn't the English love that?
His frustration is pretty obvious to us all.
The pressure was really on the new test cap, 31-year-old George Bailey. And he didn't last long. 100 for 5.
When he can get that older ball just to move around a little bit.
Stephen Smith led the fight back until Chris Tremlett got in on the act.
Big edge, simple catch.
Broad was honing in on his 11th 5-wicket haul.
Yeah, it's all good.
But also blasting away was Mitchell Johnson to try and set up something to defend later, as the first day belonged to England.
And that's Sport. Really have a nice weekend.
Same to you, William. Stay with us for world news after the break. Hello again. Leading world news tonight. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu continues to lobby against talks to rein in Iran's nuclear program. The US wants to hold back on sanctions against the country in exchange for assurances Iran isn't developing a nuclear weapon. Netanyahu has called it a bad deal.
In Tel Aviv's Little Persia, the negotiations surrounding Iran's nuclear program are a touchy subject. Ask most merchants, and a storm of Persian and Hebrew fills the air. This family, who immigrated to Israel from Iran, is split generationally. The father, Zion, is hopeful. I hope there will be peace and everything will be good for them over there and us over here, he says. 2 days, we can finish Iran in 2 days, his son Elon interjects, believing war is the only solution. Opinions here range from hopeful to combative. There's no room among the nuts and dried fruit for perceived weakness. Merchants here in Little Iran know the consequences of a bad deal, losing money. But Prime Minister Netanyahu has warned the consequences of a bad deal on the world stage could be deadly.
And in fact, if you do a bad deal, you may get to the point where your only option is a military option. So a bad deal actually can lead you to exactly the place you don't want to be.
World powers in the P5+1 seem to disagree with Israel's warning. Many, including Israel, expect an initial deal to be struck. Arya Nassab hangs a picture of the late Shah of Iran in his restaurant. He believes Iran won this round, but like good Iranian food, patience is crucial.
But you know, it's one round, there'll be another round, and in the last we still win.
Perhaps, most surprisingly, despite the bellicose rhetoric, most yearn to return.
My father all the time speak about Iran, and I really want to see that.
I want to tell you, it's only good memories from the people there, from the nation, from the country. It's a beautiful country.
Afghanistan's election commission has released the final list of candidates for the nation's upcoming presidential elections. There are 11 candidates on the list, all men. They include the leader of the main political opposition, a former jihadi leader and a former chairman of the Security Transition Commission. The election is set for April 5th next year. It will be the third presidential and provincial councils election since the Taliban regime fell in late 2001. Current President Hamid Karzai is not running for re-election since he's reached the term limit. His brother is one of the candidates seeking to replace him. One Pakistani marketplace is taking a different tack to bring in buyers. Many of the shopping stalls are stocked with merchandise from a very unlikely supplier. The CNN's Saima Mohsin has the details from Peshawar.
This is one of Pakistan's largest markets. Karkhano Market lines the road leading from Peshawar to the Afghan border and onto Kabul. There are more than 4,000 shops here selling everything from rugs, fruit, toiletries, and stolen NATO supplies. Hanging in full view is military equipment destined for NATO troops in Afghanistan. Gun holders, rifle bags, camouflage jackets, you name it, you can find it here. The stalls and shops here are run by both Pakistanis and Afghans, with a huge amount of contraband from smugglers on sale, attracting customers from all over the city and country.
We go hunting, so I come to pick up these knives, equipment for guns and rifles, stuff like that.
I've been coming here for years now. I come here to pick up things for hunting mostly, like knives and the telescope lens that goes on rifles and binoculars.
CNN can't independently confirm where these goods are coming from. Vendors admit some of these are replicas from China. But off camera, they're happy to tell us which of these products are original and which are off the back of a NATO vehicle. We didn't have much time to look around for our own safety, and the shopkeepers were uncomfortable with us filming and suspicious of people asking questions. But we did catch a box full of Captain America comics, perhaps en route to bolster morale among the troops. This stall has an assortment of penknives, spoons, forks, binoculars, scopes, an assortment of them for rifles, and a whole array of knives and daggers. We also found taser guns, NATO trucks are regularly attacked while making their way through the tribal areas of Pakistan. Experts and local police told us the goods on board are often looted first before the trucks are set alight and destroyed. The government has tried to crack down on smuggled and stolen goods here, so many of the deals are done under the table. But the shop owners weren't willing to tell us what other equipment they had for sale.
Cloudy periods with occasional showers were over most places today. A trough of low pressure lies southwest of Fiji and is gradually moving southeastwards. Meanwhile, another trough lies over Tuvalu and extends southeastwards over southern Tonga. A look at the headlines again before we go. Customs officers uncover illegal drugs and containers. Lami Town takes on Yellow Ribbon initiative, and local artists push for increase in music royalties. That's Fiji One News. Thanks for joining us. Have a safe and a blessed weekend. Good night.